Good, man, and thanks for joining us once again. Speaking about the mighty band that you're in, Caligula Horse, and you guys are going on a national tour very shortly. Plus, you've done Bloom. Let's talk it all. What's been happening in your neck of the woods, and give the fans a bit of a rundown before we go into the tour.
Yeah, man, we've been super busy since the release of Bloom. We've toured Europe, toured Australia a number of times, done a lot of big shows, and been having a hell of a time. But unfortunately, it sort of got a little bit too much for all of us, and we lost our drummer Jeff a good couple of months ago now. And since then, we've found a replacement, a fantastic new drummer named Josh Griffin, and he's fit straight in to the mold with the guys. So not to mention he's an incredible player. So we've been having a great time jamming with him, and since he's been in the band, we've obviously been working on new material as well. So nothing to announce just yet, nothing I can really talk about, but we will be taking some new tunes on tour with us when we travel the country in November, December. So can't wait for that. And
it's going to be awesome. I know there's a nice festival back in Melbourne called the Prog Fest that's going to be happening at the Corner Hotel. You guys must be looking for that. Also, not just that gig, but also all these gigs around Australia. I mean, you got the city on the ball with you guys, plus all these other local bands as well.
That's right, yeah. The city are actually playing a number of shows with us. I think they're coming. Obviously, they're the main support in Adelaide, in their hometown. Because they kill it there, and they're wonderful dudes. We always stay with them when they come down. So they're like our best mates. They're our Adelaide buddies. So they're also playing with us in Perth and in Brisbane, in our hometown as well, for the first time. And they're coming down to join us in Melbourne for Progfest. So it's just going to be the two of us for most of the tour. But yeah, we're stoked about Progfest. I mean, the whole tour is going to be great. Because, I mean, like, we love touring Australia every time. It's always a good time. There's never any bad nights. It's, people we love and playing music, and it's great. But there's something special about playing Melbourne for Prog Fest, and I'm really glad that festival is back.
Yeah. I mean, what I like about not just discovering bands while I'm doing this podcast, but just to seeing how Australian music is taking its own shape, of course, at this present time. I mean, it's probably not as big as such, because it had such many well-named back in the 70s and 80s getting their repercussions, they're getting the name out on the door. But what I like about it this time around you've got to take in the fact that we've got digital media now, all the new platforms that you can choose from. But what I see, it's more of an underground cult type of following with a lot of the bands, especially here in Australia. Do you see that surging a lot more now compared to what it used to be when you were growing up?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of finding global support for your music, you don't have to automatically, you're not obliged to tap into essentially the pop market, in order to do that, because of things like Spotify's a bad example because they don't really pay their artists very well, but because of things like Bandcamp and social media in general, people are able to get around to different underground groups. So you're not necessarily trying to just make it as one underground group in your own country. You have the ability to reach all of the people, however few or many they might be, that are interested in your music all around the world. So it sort of gives opportunities for bands like us. And all you have to do is look at a band like Ned with the Stars from Melbourne and the success that they've had recently, with support from their fans all around the world, and they're able to do this full time now. So, and they're hardly a radio-friendly band, you know what I mean? Like, they're hardly going to be, played on mainstream radio or be going and playing, festival-sized tours, but they've got support everywhere and enough to live and enough to make music of it. So, yeah, it's a great time.
Yeah, because the way I see it is a lot of people, especially the fans, I'm saying the fans, there are some fans that are underground as well, but the messages that I've been getting from the general metal community is, if they don't actually hear it on a radio or via the podcast or whatever, they are not interested in listening to new material. But then on the flip side, when they've got nothing to do on the weekend and they go out to see a gig, they see a new band for the first time and they get caught in the motion straight away. Do you see that? I mean, do you ever get that type of feedback or that type of reception where you are seeing some fans who will say, if I don't hear it, I won't buy it, but then when they've got nothing else to do on the weekend or whatnot, and they go out to one of the gigs and you guys happen to play there, they start listening to you guys and start showing you a bit more support?
Yeah, I feel like, if you come, not to sound like I'm tooting my own horn too much, but if you come to a Seahorse show, it's very likely that you're going to have a good time. You have to try pretty hard to have a bad time there. So, if you come onto a Seahorse show and you like what you see, you're going to catch the bug pretty quickly. But, I mean, for the most part, everyone's different. Everyone chases music in different ways. Some people are totally surface level listeners and they don't want to go any deeper than that. But I know a great deal of people here in Australia and all around the world who really get a kick out of just, exploring new avenues of music and new underground artists that they've never heard of. They don't want to hear even popular underground artists. They want to hear the new stuff. So, there's people I've spoken to in Germany that, that just dig into Australian scene music and they just love getting to the bottom of it all. So, I suppose it's different for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, this is what I like. There's so much flavour out there. There's so much avenues that people can choose from. But the main problem that I have is when I see people start labelling certain bands and putting themselves into a pigeonhole. I'm talking about the fans here. When it's not thrash, they won't listen to anything else. If it's not death metal, they won't listen to black metal. But when it comes to, say, deathcore, metalcore type of thing, there's a bit more of an even balance because not only do you have the clean vocals and you have the heavy vocals as well, but I think more along the line, a lot of the younger kids, the younger generation, are huge followers of the metalcore and the deathcore realm.
Yeah, I was just maybe there's an age difference there is important. Like,
yeah.
The older fans are going to be the ones that are a little bit stuck in their ways, but just pure tribal stuff, man. We all do it. I pick my team,
Yeah. And that's what I see. And unfortunately, with these younger kids, there's not a lot of all-age gigs that they can go to. I mean, there are other venues that are shutting down across Australia, but here in Adelaide, we do have all-age gigs as well. Do you find that a bit of comparison that the younger fans are heavy fans of the new metal or deathcore, metalcore, and yet it's so frustrating for them they can't go out and see it because they're under the age of 18?
Yeah, I mean, it is a shame. In one sense, certainly from their perspective, it's devastating. I mean, I get communicated with. So I'm sort of on the front lines of all of our social media, and I communicate with all our fans. I get spoken to a lot by younger fans who are very, very keen to come and see us play and haven't had the chance. And unfortunately, it's just the nature of the beast, really. I mean, there are venues to accommodate a band at the size that we're at right now. That are all ages, are few and far between, especially here up here in Queensland. I've got to tell you, there's nothing here in Brisbane for the kids, and it's kind of a bit rough. There used to be a lot of options, and now they're kind of dying off, I think, in favour of profit, off from liquor sales and things like that. So it's kind of a disappointing thing. But I mean, if there were venues that could accommodate us that had all ages, we'd be happy to play them. But it's just sort of sad state of affairs in Australia, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's the way I see it. It's a new millennium. There's new technology. There's new platforms and everything else. I mean, we can go back 30 years, especially in my life, where every Thursday I'll be lining up down at the record store waiting for the new releases to come in on a vinyl or a new single to come on a cassette tape. Nowadays, I don't have to wait. I get promos from the record labels as well, which is a way. It's like a kid on a Christmas day when you open up your email. Nowadays, you get a promo release from the band or the record labels that they're with, and it's just so refreshing that now you can just press a button on your computer and send out so many emails at once rather than going down to the record store and buy. But saying that, I do buy the records when it gets released. So I've got the promo copy on a soundwave, a soundbite form. And then when it's released, I go out and buy a copy, a physical copy.
I'm a fan of hard copy.
Yeah. I want to ask,
older, I think.
how much challenges was it for you guys to record the latest album, Bloom? Was it a different pathway that you guys took down the road, or was it more easy for you guys this time around than it has been since you started?
Sort of a bit of both, really. I mean, our process with Bloom was very deliberately different in that we wanted to have an album that was entirely real, with as little editing as humanly possible, and no tuning on the vocals, that sort of thing. So we spent a little bit more time getting the most polished performances we could in the studio. But at the same time, that was the first album that we released and had the support of with Inside Out Music, the Inside Out label. So we had a little bit more financial support than we ever had before, and we knew that the album was going to be released on a platform to a level that we hadn't released before. So some things were easy and some things were a little bit more challenging, but we're well and truly sort of in the zone with each other right now. So the studio process is really honed.
And the personal challenges for you guys to outdo yourself, like, was that set upon yourself as well, to not trying to recreate the wheel, so to speak, and not trying to copy what you've done before, but to make yourself a better musician? How was that challenging for you guys?
Well, I probably couldn't put it much better myself as to what we try and do. Every time we want to release something, we want to be, we want to, in our minds, at least, to be the best thing that we've ever done. We never released something that we weren't proud of. So we want to take a step forward, but not just a step forward. It's definitely a different direction as well. We want to grow from where we've been. So, I mean, if you just look at the difference between our albums so far, between Moments and River's End, there was a lot more darkness, a lot more story coming in, and then Bloom is definitively not a concept album, but a lot more colourful and uplifting. And stuff we're working on now is conceptual in nature. It's a little bit darker, but the stories are a lot more personal in there as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on where we try to take a next step in a bunch of different directions with each album. So
yeah. I mean, with all the stuff that's going on in the world today, do you guys look at it and appeal that into your music, so to speak, or do you just let that go on the back burner because there's so much political uproar at the moment around the world, especially here in Australia? Do you take that upon yourself, or not upon yourself, but take it in a musical realm and be more of a, I don't know, not a political standpoint, but be like a vocal point for the audience? Because the way that the world is at the moment, it's a terrible place. There's a lot of hate, there's a lot of war going on, and blah, blah, blah. Do you ever try to take a message from that and deliver that through your volume of your music, or you rather put that on the back burner?
Well, I'm an intensely political person. Anyway, just in real life. I mean, anyone that knows me would tell you that and probably laugh if they heard that. But I mean, the fact is that's just who I am. I try to stay up to date with current affairs, and I try not to let it make me too filled with fury and outrage. But at the same time, the music that we write and the stories that we tell in writing them are sort of based fundamentally on an expression of emotion and a communication of the story. So if I'm driven to an emotion by the nature of things in the world, then of course that emotion is going to inform the nature of the story that I'm telling. So in that way, I'm influenced by political events, but I don't particularly like to write music that is directed towards one specific thing or another, because I feel that can be a little bit hand-handed, and so we try to use metaphor and things like that to get around it. But yeah, for the most part, I mean, I said yes. I'm definitely informed by the current state of the world.
Yeah, it's so great to hear what you guys are doing, and as I mentioned earlier at the start of the interview, you guys are going around Australia very shortly. You're taking a few bands along with the ride, and like I mentioned, if for the festival over in Melbourne, the Prog Fest down at the corner, that should be an awesome thing. And I know the latest album is absolutely outstanding. You can grab it now via the website of the band. Go to the Caligula Horse website, go to the Facebook page. But more importantly, if you do have a JB Hi-Fi store nearby, go there. It is on their list. If they don't have it in store, they can order it in and you can get it that way. Or do what some of the fans do. Wait till you see them on the gig. They'll have plenty of merchandise, and go up there, buy your merch and give back to the community of what these guys do. Is there any last words you'd like to say, Jim, before we let you go?
Oh man, just basically that I can't wait to get back out there. I've been itching to get back on the road and see our friends and share some good music with people. So I can't wait to play some new tunes for my good friends in Adelaide.
Yeah. All right, Jim, it's so great to have you, man, and we're having a bit of a difficulty hearing you coming through the mic, but it's all good. I'll let you go, man, and take care, and we'll see you on the road very shortly, man.
No worries, man. See you then.
Okay, mate.